All righty. Hi, everybody. This is Bob Tolster from Silversea. I'd like to welcome you to the Silversea presentation. With me is my colleague, Carl Kanstetter, who is our Director of Expedition Sales. And again, we thank you. And I'd like to introduce our partners, Bruce Mendel and Tony Gay, who will welcome you, and then we'll get right into the presentation.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. This is probably our 4th or 5th virtual night we've had since September. Tonight we're going to focus ourselves on some small ship luxury cruising. If you've cruised before on certain lines, you know, the big ships, it's great, lots of things to do, but this is completely different. It's upscale, the dining is wonderful. It's just a whole different type of atmosphere. Tony, want to say a quick hello?
Yes, hello everyone. These ships are perfect because they have less capacity control for the passengers. So you're looking, you know, like under 700 people per ship.
And we're going to talk about that in terms of the type of product we leverage and how we feel it's really going to be a good fit for you guys. So thank you again for joining us. So let's see if we can get this show on the road.
Do it.
Okay.
Or get the ship to sail. Yeah.
There you go.
Bear with me one second.
Sure.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So, so we're going to talk about Silversea, and I would ask all of you to just keep 3 concepts in mind. Destination, our onboard platform, and value. And during the course of this presentation, I think we'll be able to cover and relay that information to you in a way that by the end of the presentation, you'll understand more fully what Silversea is all about. So with that, we'd just like to show you a short video introducing the brand to you.
Thank you.
It's when all your senses become aware. You are present, in focus. That's traveling to me. It's an urgent need to go and observe this world that we all share. A ray of light, a pair of eyes that tell a story, an instant of perfection. Images printing on your soul. This is authentic beauty. It's all out there, and trust me, there's always room for discovery.
So now that we've piqued your curiosity a little bit, let's get into the gist of the presentation and talk about, first of all, let's talk about our destinations. We sail all 7 continents. We probably do 250 to 260 unique itineraries across 900, between 900 and 1,000 different ports of call. So chances are, if you have a bucket list destination or destinations that you're really interested in visiting, chances are we're going to be able to take you there. So let us take you closer to the authentic beauty of the world.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things about that video is we focused a lot on destination. You didn't see any hero shots of the ship because, as Bob pointed out, anywhere between 900 and 1,000 unique ports of call. And the way we can do that is with our ships because the ships are so small. The reason we can do that is because the ships are so small. For example, here you see us sailing under the Tower Bridge of London. So we're literally, when our itinerary says London, there isn't a bracket behind it that says Southampton or Dover or Greenwich. We're literally sailing into London, under the Tower Bridge and into London. We tie up beside the HMS Belfast and our guests are in London, or we start in London and sail down the Thames. And that's part of it. You know, I know personally, I have friends who sailed from Dublin to London, and they said it's as though the cruise was over and we did a second cruise once we went up the Thames. It was a completely unique experience. So it's the size of our vessels that allow us to do this. There are 2 cruise lines in the world that can pull this off.
Yeah, and I've actually done that. I was on a Silversea ship as we sailed up the Thames. It's an amazing experience. So again, to my point about sailing to worldwide destinations, we do hit the gamut. So Sydney, Australia. So think Australia, New Zealand. Moving forward, I mean, we do all 7 continents. So we do the Med. We do Northern Europe and Gulf. This is St. Petersburg, where you know what, the ship docks, sails up the River Neva and docks right there in the heart of St. Petersburg. So when our guests exit the ship, they're on a coach, and it's less than a 10-minute coach ride right to the Hermitage Museum. So that's the great thing about small ships. You're truly up close and personal.
And that's true on the classic side as well as on the expedition side. This is the Silver Explorer, and this is one of the ships. She has a very, very high ice class. And this is one of 2 ships that, or 3, soon to be 3, that we take into Antarctica and to the Arctic. And the way that we explore those areas, in particular the Arctic, is we use a very, very small ship with a high ice class. This ship has a capacity of 144 guests. We were just talking about this before the presentation started, that I think in the early days of starting to get back to cruising post-pandemic, people are going to be looking for smaller vessels because people will have greater peace of mind sailing on a vessel with 250 people as opposed to 2,500 people. So we're hopeful that that's really going to entice people to sail again, is the size of our vessel. So this vessel had 144 guests going into the Arctic, and because she's so small and has this high ice class, we can get into these little bays and these fjords and these inlets and go looking for some of the wildlife. In Antarctica, similarly, getting into areas that big cruise ships just can't go. So getting you to South Georgia, which is a beautiful island, it's almost like Switzerland. It's called the Switzerland of the Southern Ocean. On our way to Antarctica to go and see all of these king penguins and the encounters with wildlife. The ship becomes the luxury floating hotel that is your platform from which we then go and explore. So we take Zodiacs and sea kayaks and what have you and get off of the ship and go and explore. And I mentioned the Arctic before. We get off of the ship into the Zodiacs and then you use the Zodiacs to go and get closer to the wildlife and hopefully get nice and close to some polar bears and go do some exploring. In the Galapagos, the same thing. Our ship in the Galapagos, brand new, delivered to us in July. She has never sailed with guests on her yet. She's currently sitting off the coast of Ecuador, waiting for us to be able to sail again. And she has a total capacity of 100 guests. It's almost unheard of to have a cruise ship that small. So these are some of the things that are unique to Silversea. This is also from the Galapagos. Bob?
Yeah, so let's talk about our onboard platform, our fleet. We're very proud. The hallmark of Silversea's brand is that we're a small ship product. We currently have 9 ships in our fleet, ranging in guest capacity size from our largest is Silver Spirit at 608 guests. And as Carl mentioned, our Silver Origin, when she sails at full capacity, she'll come in with 100 guests sailing on the vessel. We also have our Silver Muse, which sails with a guest capacity of 596 guests. We have our sister ships, the Silver Whisper and the Silver Shadow, that come in at 388 guest capacity. And our smallest ship in the fleet on the classic side currently is the Silver Wind. So when she sails full, she sails at a guest capacity of 296 guests. We took delivery of this year of our Silver Moon, actually in late October. She's a sister to the Silver Muse, so she comes in again at 596 guests. We have a new ship coming into the fleet in 2021. She's the Silver Dawn. We're so excited about that. We actually just had the float out today, and we expect to have her in the fleet by November. And she is the sister again to the Moon and the Muse, so sailing with a guest capacity of 596 guests. And coming in 2022 and early 23 is our Silver Revolution class. We haven't named them yet, but at the same time, the hallmark of the brand will be maintained, and that they will be truly small ship products. So, and then our Silver Moon, which we took delivery of at the end of October. These are just some snapshots from the ship. So on the upper left, we do have the exterior. On the upper right, this is a picture of our owner suite, which gives you guys a size, a sense, if you will, of the simple, intimate, elegant luxury we offer on board our ship with respect to the accommodations. This is the top suite on the ship, and incidentally, on these new vessels that we're incorporating, we found that since we sell top down, and to meet that demand, we're offering more of the top down suites on our ship, the owner, the royal, and the grand suites, because again, that's what our guests are looking for. So we're here to meet that demand for them. On the lower left is a picture of our salt bar. I'll talk about that in a little bit. That's in the middle is the Dolce Vita, which is our main lounge on the Silver Moon and the Silver Muse. And on the right, of course, is a picture of the pool area, which becomes very popular. And again, this is another shot of the Dolce Vita. Okay, this is the Arts Cafe on board the Silver Moon. It's a great place. It's like a coffee bar, a very upscale, but yet very relaxed and comfortable. Starbucks, if you will, in terms of grab and go coffee, to be able to sit down, read your newspaper, read a book, browse online. All that stuff is available. It's just a very comfortable, unique atmosphere. Yeah, the spa area as well. I mean, all of our ships are equipped with a spa. We find that our guests really enjoy having that type of experience when they sail with us. So again, it's all about managing and exceeding your clients, our guests' expectations. As I mentioned earlier, our onboard product is all about comfort and space. Flexible accommodations in terms of triple occupancy suites as well as connecting suites, because we find that we do have some families that sail with us, and it's really, really important that they sail together. So we're able to accommodate them in that respect. And as I mentioned earlier, more of the larger suites available for our guests as well.
I think an interesting thing to point out on this slide is that the upper image is the image of the entry-level suite. That's as bad as it gets. And I think it's around, what is it, about 345 square feet?
Yeah, actually with the
Walk-in
veranda,
closet, marble bathroom.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
375. That's about as bad as it gets on the ship. So
yeah, and that's pretty nice entry-level accommodations for sure. This is another viewpoint of a standard veranda suite. So just a couple of things to mention. There's a separate, of course, sitting area and a separate sleeping area. There are walk-in closets in the suite. There is a mini fridge that can be stocked to your preference, marble and granite bathrooms, high-end bathroom amenities. All that stuff is included in the cruise fare. So there's obviously no additional charge for any of that. Your mini fridge in the suite can be stocked to your preference. So all you have to do is reach out to Bruce or Tony or anybody on the team there, and they'll be able to notify Silversea of your requirements, and Silversea will take care of it for you.
and butler service in every suite category, complimentary Wi-Fi, unlimited in every suite category. So as Bob said, just let us know what you want. And 24-hour dining, 24-hour room service. Let your butler know or let your room attendant know, and they'll bring you anything from any of the menus from any of the restaurants on board 24 hours a day.
And complimentary room, it's complimentary, of course. Okay, Carl?
We mentioned that the latest, now it's not the latest. It's the second most recent ship to be added to the fleet, because the Moon has since been added in October. But in July, we took possession of the Silver Origin on time. So in the middle of a pandemic, we were quite pleasantly surprised to learn from the shipyard that she was delivered in time. The only thing that delayed her leaving Europe, crossing the Atlantic, going through the Caribbean, crossing through the canal or transiting the canal and making her way to South America was the fact that some of the Italian furniture wasn't ready. And that's because there was a fire in the warehouse where the furniture was coming from. Otherwise, everything would have been on time. She's now sitting off the coast of Ecuador and waiting for her first guests. The ship was designed and built with the Galapagos in mind. This is what you see when you enter the ship. So this ship never docks. She never comes into a port. She's always at anchor just outside the port, and everything and everybody arrives by Zodiac or by tender. The guests all arrive by Zodiac, but their luggage, the provisions, everything. And as you make your way from the marina deck into the ship, you come to this area called base camp, and this is the first thing you see. And it's your introduction to the Galapagos, because we have these museum style display cases with artifacts on loan from the Royal Geographical Society in London. We're members of the Royal Geographical Society. Charles Darwin was a member of the Royal Geographical Society. So we have this partnership with them whereby we've got these artifacts on loan. There's also this other area in base camp where we have this this podium here with this touchscreen display, and everything that comes up on here is projected onto this huge floor to ceiling, wall to wall display. And it's still images, it's videos, it's recordings of whale song and bird song and things like that. So you may have an expedition team member, an ornithologist or a marine biologist, take a small group of 8 or 10 people before they embark a Zodiac and head to land in Galapagos. And this person might talk to you for 5 or 10 minutes about, hey, this is what we're going to look for. And I think we're going to find it over here, and pull up a map or pull up a satellite shot, that sort of thing. So it's a very, very immersive experience. And again, this is the entry level suite on this ship. One of the things that I thought was really interesting about the design of this, again, the ship being designed with the Galapagos in mind, very often, almost always, you walk into a cruise ship or you walk into your suite on a cruise ship, and immediately left or immediately right is the door to the bathroom. And there isn't a hint of natural light in that bathroom once you shut the door. We built these panels here that when you're inside the bathroom standing at the sink brushing your teeth, you can push a button and it's a mirror, or you push the button again and it becomes opaque and you can see through, all the way through the suite, lots of natural light flooding into that bathroom, and you can see right through your balcony. So no matter where you are in your suite, no matter where you are on the ship, you feel like you're immersed in the Galapagos. Bob?
So as I mentioned earlier, our Silver Dawn, she's coming soon. The float out was just today. She's on schedule to be completed in the fall, probably early November. We'll take delivery of her sister again to the Silver Muse and to the Silver Moon. With the Silver Moon, what we've done is something I think is really, really unique. I mean, Silversea has always been known for its food and its all things culinary. So with the Silver Moon, we developed a new culinary program, and it's called SALT, which is an acronym for sea and land taste. So basically what we're doing here is we're celebrating, when we get to these regional destinations, the local cuisine, the local spirits, the local wines, all things culinary, basically. So to that end, we've built, if you will, 3 new venues on the Silver Moon. We built the Salt Kitchen, which is a restaurant to celebrate all things culinary. The Salt Bar, which celebrates all spirits, wines, all of that. And I'm drawing a blank on the Salt Lab, where we'll actually have the interactive cooking demonstrations and again, an educational experience in terms of doing celebrating all things culinary in the regional cuisine and what have you.
And the Salt Lab program is interesting because it's not just a matter of standing there and watching a cooking demonstration. You go with that person into town and go to the local market. So imagine going into Bangkok, going to the local market, purchasing the local ingredients with your guide and with that chef, and then coming back to Salt Lab and learning from that local person how to prepare these individual ingredients and how to put them together in a very traditional local dish.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the onboard lifestyle, if you will. So whether you sail on a Silversea Classic itinerary or whether you sail on a Silversea Expedition itinerary, the onboard experience is the same with respect to, again, we're an all-suite product, at least ocean view or higher, no interior suites on any of our ships. By virtue of the fact that we are an all-suite product, we offer that butler service for all of our guests. All the gratuities are included in the cruise fare. All the beverages, if you will, from top shelf alcohol all the way down to bottled water and everything in between. Complimentary Wi-Fi throughout, complimentary room service 24/7. The mini fridge in the suite that is stocked to your preferences, and open seating as well as specialty restaurants. So there's plenty of opportunity to enjoy meals in a variety of locations. And on top of that, we've offered additional things for our guests who sail the expedition itineraries with respect to if they're on a polar voyage, then the complimentary parka is available for them. Again, we're a member of the Royal Geographical Society, Zodiacs, which is the transportation on and off the ship, and the services, if you will, of our expedition team. And Carl can talk a little bit about that because they are absolutely amazing with respect to their knowledge and their skill level in terms of our guests understanding the destinations that our expedition ships visit.
Yeah, a significant difference between a classic cruise, so let's say the Mediterranean, the Caribbean, the Baltics, Australia, New Zealand, and expedition cruising, which is most of the sort of big three are Antarctica, the Arctic, and the Galapagos, is that on an expedition cruise, you won't find the Broadway style entertainment, the song and dance, the big show kind of thing, because it's very much an enrichment voyage. The days start quite early because if you've been on safari in Africa, you know that the guides want to get you out early in the morning when it's still cool and the animals are a little more active. That's true in the Galapagos. That's true in the Arctic. That's true in Antarctica. So the days start quite early. We come back midday, we have lunch, the ship might navigate somewhere else, and then we go out again mid-afternoon and until late afternoon. And then there'll be a lecture sometime in that midday period or again at the end of the day, or if there's a day at sea. The lectures are done by ornithologists, glaciologists, marine biologists, historians, polar historians. And these are the people who bring it to life because this has been their study. They have graduate degrees and undergraduate degrees. And many times they've written books or had books written about them. I was talking to somebody the other day who was asking about the experience of some of our expedition team to Antarctica. And I said, well, typically we operate between 10 and 12 Antarctic voyages per season per ship. These folks will sign on for an entire Antarctic season and they've been with us 10 or 12 years. So you can be standing there chatting with someone, an ornithologist, for example, asking questions about the Gentoo penguin. And then you find out that this person has been to Antarctica 80 or 90 or 100 times. That's who you want to be talking to when you're getting this feedback or when you're getting all of this knowledge and hearing a lecture and standing beside them on a beach looking at a penguin colony. So they are highly, highly qualified. They're an amazing group of people to travel with.
Right. And that's where the luxury certainly, but because the onboard program is the same, but also the value in terms of all the land tours are built into the program. So there is no additional shore excursion charge on any of our expedition opportunities. So it's again, that one cruise fare fits all in terms of the value that you'll be experiencing. So let's talk a little bit about our new deployment coming in 2022 and how we've made it more all-inclusive than ever. So beginning with the 2022 deployment and moving forward on all those classic itineraries, complimentary shore excursions will be included as well. And that's really, really important for us. You know, Silversea took a hard look at where we were in terms of how we want to deliver the best experience for our guests. And we felt the best way to do that was to include at least one complimentary shore excursion for every port of call on those itineraries. So beginning again in spring and summer deployment in 2022, we will be doing that. And we include on every cruise, complimentary economy air. And on many of those destinations, we're able to offer a promotional business class upgrade at a very reasonable and very exciting price, as a matter of fact. To give you an example, when we bring our guests to anywhere in Europe, air is included as well, but if our guests would like to upgrade to a business class seat, it's $699 per person each way. So for $1,400 round trip, you're flying in a business class seat back and to pick up that Silversea ship or return from that Silversea ship. So it's an amazing opportunity, and again, more value. So Silversea has a variety of grand voyages where whether we sail all of Europe or if we break it down into all of the Med or Northern Europe and the British Isles, the Grand Pacific voyages. So again, more opportunities to spend an extended period of time sailing the different regions.
And these are kind of complementary to the world cruises. They're somewhere in between a one and done, go to Europe and do a Mediterranean sailing, or a 130 something or 140 something day world cruise. The grand voyages fit somewhere in between. I think they're typically about 60 something days on average. And it's a way to really delve into a region and get to see that region in depth. Includes Africa and the Indian Ocean, Alaska and the Russian Far East. What else, Bob? Asia,
yeah. We're Antarctica, more, we're offering more opportunities in Antarctica in the upcoming seasons, if you will, including, there's a lot of niche stuff that we do. For example, we're doing solar voyages this year. So in December of 2021, there will be a total eclipse of the sun in Antarctica. That's December 4th, by the way, for those of you who are interested. And we built 2 different Antarctica itineraries to focus for our guests to experience that Antarctica solar eclipse. We'll be in 100% total darkness for, I think it's like 2 or 2.5 hours, right, Carl?
Yeah, the actual eclipse itself is about 2 minutes, but for a few hours before that and a few hours after that, you see the sun, the moon blocking out the sun. And to Bob's point, Antarctica voyages ranging in length from 6 days to 22 days. So it just depends on how much time you've got and what your interest level is. And that's true for so many of these different destinations. A wide variety of lengths of trip, the interest or the focus of the voyage itself, where it starts. In the Arctic, we might start in Greenland and finish in Alaska. We might start in Norway and finish in Iceland. So there's a wide variety to choose from. In the Med, we're all over the place. You could start in Rome and finish in Greece. You could start in
Barcelona and go to Lisbon or to London. By the way, I've had a lot of feedback from advisors. They found out that in October of 2022, we're doing the Azores. So all of Portugal and the Azores. So that's generated a lot of excitement. So if any of you out there have been interested or have always wanted to do something like that, now's the time, because Silversea is offering it.
And I think the key thing to remember here is something we brought up very early on, and that is these are not your typical Mediterranean or your typical Caribbean ports or your typical Baltic ports. Check out the website and go and look at some of these, because the size of the vessels allow us to get into tiny, tiny, tiny little ports, many that you probably haven't even heard of. And you really get a sense for what some of these destinations and some of these regions are like. We're bypassing the ports where the 4,000 and 5,000 and 6,000 passenger vessels are and going to the next port 2 or 3 hours down the coast. And we have the place to ourselves because we're the smallest ship in town. And that port is so small that we're the only ship that can get in there.
Yeah, exactly. We go where the big ships can't go. Northern Europe and the British Isles. So think, the UK and Scotland and both Ireland and Northern Ireland.
The Shetlands, the Orkneys.
Yeah. Hitting those smaller places that have been on everybody's bucket list, but heretofore our guests have not had the opportunity to sail there. So now is the time. Of course, we do have a lot of favorites to which we sail, including the Caribbean, Central America. So that's all available for our guests as well. And the point here that I'm trying to convey is that whatever you're looking for, chances are we're going to be able to get you there and get you there in luxury. So Galapagos, South America, all itineraries. South Pacific, Africa and the Indian Ocean coming in April of 2022. So if you guys have expressed an interest in going to the Seychelles and the Maldives, we'll have 2 great voyages doing that in April of 2022. Yeah.
And then every year, when we're finishing up in one region and we're about to head to another region, for those people who like to spend a number of days at sea and just really relax and enjoy the amenities of the ship, we have a number of transoceanics as well.
Yeah, people seem to really enjoy those repositioning cruises. So they're awesome.
And for closer to
Canada-
home, certainly sort of post-pandemic, some people aren't going to want to leave too far or want to head too far out. So a number of voyages. Alaska, of course, it's a little bit further, but it's, still the US. And then coastal voyages, from Fort Lauderdale up the coast and then including Canada and New England, because in the early days, there are some people who may not want to venture too far out yet. And some overnights in Manhattan, and it's some great images of people dancing on deck with the skyline of Manhattan in the background.
That's awesome. Yeah, and because again, we're a smaller ship product going through Canada and Nova Scotia and down the St. Lawrence to Quebec and on to Montreal.
Mm-hmm. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more, there are a couple of different ways to do that. We've got a great blog called discover.silversea.com. Wonderful stories there about a number of the destinations that we travel to all over the world, written by professional writers and accompanied with professional or photographs from professional photographers. And then if video is your style, then we have a YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com and look up Silversea Cruises, we have our own YouTube channel with dozens and dozens and dozens of beautiful, absolutely stunning videos. We have filmmakers on board some of the vessels and every one of the expedition cruises. And the filmmaker makes a 10 to 15 minute video, depending on the length of the voyage, of every single expedition voyage. But these are not just expedition videos. There are videos of every part of the world featuring every ship that we offer. So great way to learn a little bit more and then get in touch with the folks at Longwood and say, hey, I watched this video and this has really piqued my curiosity.
Right. Yeah. So there's amazing content on that site. So like Carl says, we encourage you to just visit and take a peek, and you'll learn quite a bit, and that'll really pique your interest. And the next thing you know, you're going to be on the phone or communicating in some way with Longwood Travel and saying, get me on this thing. So our Cruise with Confidence, basically, it's a program we have, when our clients book, especially in this age of COVID or what have you, we want to convey a sense of confidence for them that they could do so and have the opportunity, or if their plans change as a result of a COVID situation, that they can go ahead and they can cancel without penalty and take that FCC and rebook themselves on another voyage, and do so up to 31 days before the voyage. It's what we want to do is make sure that our guests know that we're all in this together, and we're going to make sure that you're taken care of. And Bruce and Tony can provide more information to you about that. So our early booking bonus is a really, really popular program. And the way it works is when you book a Silversea voyage during a specific window, and you pay that voyage in full, by the end of the window, you receive a 10% cost savings on that business, on that booking, in addition to any other promotion that might be available that Bruce and Tony can offer you. So it is an amazing opportunity to receive the most beneficial opportunity in terms of fare and cost.
With the latest launch, there are actually some voyages that are up to 20% off with the early booking bonus.
Yeah, many of those are in 2021, but there are some in 2022 as well. So with that, we've kind of like concluded our presentation, but Carl and I would like to thank you for your time and for your attention. And I know Bruce, Tony and Celeste and Sandy will all be there available to help you in any way they can, because we would love to have you there with us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I had a quick question, if I could.
Sure.
On the 2022 sailings that are going to include airfare, if people have their own air, frequent flyers, what have you, would it be like an air credit, or how does that?
Yes, there is. for our guests who, want to book their own air or have Tony or Bruce of the team book it separately for them, then we will offer an air credit, and the value of which is dependent on the itinerary to which our guests are sailing. Yeah. For example, if I think Galapagos, I think it's about a $900 air credit, Carl, and I think
it's $750, Bob.
yeah, $750, and and Europe, for example, is a $900 per person air credit.
Right.
I imagine there's like a deviation fee if people wanted to pick their own airline and talk to your desk, and they'll tell you how much it would cost additional or what have you.
Right. It's generally on the order of $150 per person air deviation fee if our guests wish to customize their own air itinerary. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
And you didn't say too much, Bob. I just have a question. It for pre and post, or if people want to go in pre, do you do much of that?
We do actually. What we do. We offer up to 3 nights pre and 3 nights post, and we have a couple of different hotel opportunities we can offer on each voyage. And what's good to know with respect to the comment that was made about an air deviation fee, if you choose our offered pre or post hotels up to 3 nights, then the air deviation fee would usually be waived. All right, so that's good to remember as well.
Mm-hmm.
There are also a number of pre and post packages as well. Sometimes people will look at it and say, hey, I'm going all that distance. Why don't I spend a little bit of extra time? The Galapagos is an interesting example. People are looking at the Galapagos and looking at a map and saying, well, Ecuador is relatively close to Peru. I've always wanted to go to Machu Picchu. So there's a Machu Picchu extension. You can do it before you go to the Galapagos, or you can do it after you go to the Galapagos. We've got it bundled and have a package that puts that whole thing together.
Thank you.
And we've been very lucky that in the fall, typically, some of your ships have come to Boston, and we've been able to get on them, do tours, have lunch, meetings, and what have you. And I mean, the service and the people and the dining staff, and just walking around the ship, everybody, all the staff is smiling. They talk to you. It's just a good, very nice feeling.
Yeah,
I would like you to consider putting me on your list for the next time you have a ship in Boston. I'm a CLIA Master Cruise Counselor, and I don't think I've ever been on one of your ships, so I would love to see it.
Sure. The next time we're the ship, if we're able, as soon as we're able to offer.
No, I understand. Probably not until 2022. So I'm not pushing on anything, but just so you know
sure.
that I am interested.
I'll extend the invitation to Bruce at Longwood, and he comes back to me right away and says, I'd like to, to have all my team there, and we arrange to bring them on board. Sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Whenever we do ship tours, I always have to let everybody know at my table, when you're sitting with a group of people socially at a restaurant, you're typically aware of how much you're drinking because you order each drink. When you're sitting at lunch on an all-inclusive luxury cruise ship, you're not aware of how much wine you're drinking, because if I turn this way to face Bruce, the butler's coming in from the other side and he's topping, or the waiter, excuse me, and he's topping up my wine. And then I turn this way and face Bob, and the waiter's coming in from the other side and topping up my wine from the other side. So you never recognize that you have an empty glass. So you're not consciously thinking about, oh, I've had 3 glasses of wine. That's enough. You have many more than 3 glasses of wine. So you really have to be careful, particularly if you've driven to the port. It's a great day out, and you get to see the ship and see a short presentation and have a tour of the inner workings of the ship, and then have a fabulous lunch with some very, very good wine as well.
Yeah, and we've been pleased to be able to bring some Longwood clients aboard as well. So,
Okay, perfect.
A very educational opportunity for everyone.
Hopefully that stuff will continue. Who knows, right? I mean,
It will.
It will.
We'll get there.
Absolutely.
I mean, like even just like the bringing people, the ports, just having travel agents just come to do tours. That's kind of be something they're going to look at. I bet they're going to. So many things are going to be looked at. I think it's
Yeah, I mean, with everything, you know what, sometimes you need to, especially with what's happened in the last 10 months, it's just a matter of reinventing the wheel. That's all. Yeah.
You know, I sat there, I was talking to somebody a couple